The 22nd of June, 1941. With 134 divisions at full fighting strength and 73 more divisions for deployment behind the front, Nazi Germany, under the code name Operation Barbarossa, invades the Soviet Union, its ally in the war against Poland. Hitler considers the invasion as part of his plan to provide the German nation with Lebensraum, meaning living space, and an opportunity to destroy communism, which he loathes. The Soviet Union sees catastrophic military losses in the first 6 weeks after the German attack, but fails to collapse and fights the Germans, who terrorize the local population. Among this local population is the 25-year-old Russian woman who protects her Russian motherland by killing hundreds of Nazis and eventually becoming one of the most successful snipers of all time. Her name is Lyudmila Pavlichenko. Lyudmila Mikhailovna Pavlichenko was born as Lyudmila Belova on the 12th of July 1916 in the Ukrainian city of Bila Tserkva, then part of the Russian Empire. When she was 14, her family moved to Kyiv. Her father was a member of the Communist Party and had served in the Red Army as a regimental commissar, earning the prestigious Order of the Red Banner. Growing up, Lyudmila was known as a tomboy and loved competing in sports. In Kyiv, she developed a passion for shooting, joining a shooting club, and became a skilled amateur sharpshooter, eventually earning her marksman certificate. In 1932, Lyudmila married Alexei Pavlichenko, and the marriage produced one son. However, they soon divorced, and Lyudmila returned to live with her parents. In 1937, she enrolled at Kyiv University to study history, aiming to become a scholar and teacher. While at the university, Pavlichenko was active on the track team, competing as a sprinter and pole vaulter. She also completed a 6-month military-style sniping course arranged by the Red Army. The Second World War began on the 1st of September 1939 when Nazi Germany invaded Poland. Poland found itself fighting a two-front war when it was invaded by the Soviet Union from the east on the 17th of September. Warsaw officially surrendered to the Germans on the 28th of September, and 1 day later, in accordance with a secret protocol to their non-aggression pact, Germany and the Soviet Union partitioned Poland. On the 22nd of June 1941, Nazi Germany, under the code name Operation Barbarossa, invaded the Soviet Union, its ally in the war against Poland. 3 million German soldiers were reinforced by Finnish, Romanian, Hungarian, Italian, Slovak, and Croatian troops. Within weeks, German divisions conquered the Baltic republics of Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia. When the invasion began, Pavlichenko was 24 years old and in her 4th year of university. Upon hearing of the invasion, she rushed to the Odessa recruiting office to enlist. Although encouraged to become a nurse, Pavlichenko was determined to join the Soviet infantry. She demonstrated her sharpshooting skills by eliminating 2 Romanian collaborators on a Soviet-defended hill. As a result, she was assigned to the Red Army's 25th Rifle Division as a sniper. At first, she was assigned to dig trenches and set up communication routes, armed only with a single hand grenade due to a shortage of weapons. Then, in late July 1941, a fellow soldier who was badly injured by shrapnel gave her his bolt-action rifle. For about 2.5 months, Pavlichenko was on the front lines during the siege of Odessa. There, she achieved 187 kills and was promoted to senior sergeant. In October 1941, when Romanian forces took Odessa, Pavlichenko and her unit moved to Sevastopol to defend the city. She fought in the intense siege of Sevastopol for 8 months, during which the Soviets suffered heavy losses. Her confirmed kills continued to increase during this time. By May 1942, she had recorded 257 kills, earning her a promotion to lieutenant. Lyudmila became so feared by the Nazis that she was nicknamed Lady Death. The Germans also called her the Russian bitch from hell. The German army was well aware of her skills and even tried to bribe her, broadcasting over loudspeakers, "Lyudmila Pavlichenko, come to us. We will give you lots of chocolate and make you a German officer." Eventually, the Germans' attempts to bribe her turned into threats. One message stated, If we catch you, we will tear you into 309 pieces and scatter them to the winds," referring to her record of 309 confirmed kills. Pavlichenko remained calm and even pleased that the enemy knew her impressive tally. However, in June 1942, while fighting in Sevastopol, Pavlichenko was wounded by shrapnel from a mortar round that struck her in the face. Recognizing her as a valuable asset, Soviet High Command ordered for her to be evacuated from Sevastopol via submarine. Lyudmila Pavlichenko became one of the 2,000 female snipers in the Soviet forces, of whom only 500, including Pavlichenko herself, survived the war. During her time in combat, she achieved a remarkable record of 309 confirmed kills, including 36 enemy snipers. Pavlichenko spent around a month in the hospital, and after recovering from her injuries, she was not sent back to the front. Instead, the Soviet command assigned her a new role: propaganda. In late 1942, Pavlichenko came to Washington, D.C. As a decorated Soviet lieutenant, she came to the U.S. on behalf of the Soviet Union to ask for American support in opening a new front in Europe. Stalin needed help because the Red Army was suffering heavy losses, and he hoped a second front would force German troops to split up. Pavlichenko was the first Soviet to visit the White House. There, she met Eleanor Roosevelt, and they became lifelong friends. Mrs. Roosevelt invited Pavlichenko to travel around the US and share her story as a woman who fought in the war. As a young woman, wounded 4 times in battle and speaking no English, Pavlichenko toured the US. She spoke to crowds, urging for American support in Europe. In Chicago, she stood before large crowds, chiding the men to support a second front. She said, "I am 26 years old, and I have killed 309 fascist invaders by now. Don't you think, gentlemen, that you've been hiding behind my back for too long?" Her words settled on the crowd, and then caused a surging roar of support. Despite her bravery, however, the press often focused on trivial matters like her clothing and makeup. The New York Times called her a girl sniper, and some criticized her uniform, saying her long skirt lacked style. One reporter even suggested that her uniform made her look fat. She responded saying, "I am proud to wear the uniform of the legendary Red Army. It has been sanctified by the blood of my comrades, who've fallen in combat with the fascists." Ignoring the ridiculous and sexist questions, she continued to travel across the US, asking for support and telling her stories from the battlefield. She often spoke about the lack of racial segregation within the Red Army and gender equality. Her words left a mark on Americans and even inspired the singer Woody Guthrie to write a song about her in 1942 called Miss Pavlichenko. Pavlichenko also kept pushing for a second front in Canada and Great Britain. But it would be 2 years later, on the 6th of June 1944, that the Allies opened a second front in Europe with Operation Overlord, the invasion into Normandy. When she got back to the Soviet Union, Pavlichenko was promoted to major and honored as a hero of the Soviet Union, the highest military award. She was also awarded the Order of Lenin twice, the country's top civilian honor. After her tour, Pavlichenko did not go back to combat. Instead, she trained other Soviet snipers until the war ended in 1945. Later, she finished her studies at the Kyiv University and became a historian. In 1957, 15 years after Pavlichenko's US tour, Eleanor Roosevelt visited Moscow. She insisted on seeing her old friend Lyudmila. Despite the Cold War tensions, Mrs. Roosevelt was allowed a supervised visit to Pavlichenko's small Moscow apartment. The two women managed to sneak away briefly from their escorts to laugh, chat, and remember the time they spent together in the US. Like many other soldiers, Pavlichenko struggled with post-traumatic stress disorder and depression for many years. When she died on the 10th of October 1974 in Moscow, after suffering from a stroke, she was only 58 years old. 2 commemorative Soviet postage stamps were issued in her honor, one in 1943 for her wartime achievements, and the second in 1976, 2 years after her passing. In Russia today, Lyudmila Pavlichenko is honored as a military hero, her legacy enduring as a symbol of bravery and resilience. Widely acclaimed as the most successful female sniper in history, her courage and determination continue to inspire generations until this day. There were many tears shed for Lyudmila Pavlichenko. Thanks for watching the World History Channel. Be sure to like and subscribe, and click the bell notification icon so you don't miss our next episodes. We thank you, and we'll see you next time on the channel.